There's quite a bit of buzz these days on social media about neuroplasticity. And if you don't know what neuroplasticity is, a very simple definition would be your brain's ability to adapt and change to be malleable over the entirety of your life. Once upon a time, we thought it was absolutely fixed. And in the last 15 or 20 years or so, we've discovered that is not true at all. That's amazing news. One of the things that I want to share with you about that neuroplasticity, and if you are caught in this pattern of toxic thoughts or negative thoughts and patterns that drive you on a daily basis, those kinds of things chronically done on a day-to-day basis, when you are in extreme levels of stress on a day-to-day basis, those thoughts actually harness the power of neuroplasticity and do negative damage. Now, I don't want to be incredibly negative in this video. I want to give you information and light and hope, but I want you to understand that neuroplasticity in your brain is an incredible force that you can harness for you, or you can harness to work against you. So how do we recognize where we're in this state of absolute chronic stress? I can give you an example from my own life. I lived and worked in an extremely fast-paced environment in neurosurgery for 17 years of my 20-plus neuroscience year career. And the schedule that I worked on was I was for the most part on call 24/7 for 17 years. It was incredibly demanding work, as you can imagine. My schedule was not my own. It mirrored the surgeons that I worked with. When they were working, I was working. So as I was trying to deal with that, I spent tremendous amounts of time with extremely high levels of cortisol. And that's a problem because over time, that cortisol and some other things going on in the brain can hijack the neuroplasticity process of your brain and start to actually change the structure in ways that you don't want changed inside of your brain. And by that, I mean, over time, thanks to the work of people like Dr. Carolyn Leaf and Dr. Daniel Amen, we now have brain scan imaging data showing the real and significant damage that occurs in the brain. Good news, you can heal the brain, but it does put you at significant risk over time if you don't manage those chronic stress days of your life, and if you don't manage the kinds of thoughts that are driving you on a daily basis. So those changes can lead to things like decreased cognitive ability, and over time it puts you at higher risk for different types of neurological diseases, including dementia. So the thing that I want you to be aware of, if you are living in this place of chronic stress on a day-to-day basis, in chronic negative self-talk, the amount of damage that you can do to the structures in your brain over time is significant. So what do we do about this? How do we get hold of the chronic stress and the negative thought patterns? How do we even identify them? A lot of times we get caught in the place, I know a lot of my clients do, we get caught in the place of life is happening to us and we're reacting to life. And how do we move from I get to drive and steer my life by the way I respond? I don't have to react anymore. I can respond. And that's one of the things that I work with my clients on when they come to me, is we start to identify where are the areas in our life where our thinking is actually getting in our own way. And there's situations that come up in our life that we don't have control over, but we can choose how we show up and how we respond in those situations. And that's where I start with my clients. So when you are trying to move yourself out of that place, you can also harness that same neuroplasticity to start working for you. And the way you do that is you start to observe your thoughts. You give up the judgment about what you're thinking. Well, I shouldn't be thinking this and I shouldn't be thinking that. You're going to give that up. You're going to move into a place of observation, and you're going to be very curious about, number one, what are the thoughts that are driving me right now? Number two, where did those thoughts come from? Are they even true? It's entirely possible they're not even true. Your brain will do that to you, and there's some certain reasons why it does that. From a spiritual perspective, there are forces in this world who don't want you to become everything God created you to be, and they'll throw this kind of stuff at you all day long to sidetrack you and to derail you. So just keep that in mind. But now we're going to go back to the science part. So when you use neuroplasticity for you, you can literally, instead of structures in your brain changing for the negative, structures in your brain can change for the positive. And by that, I mean they can get stronger, thicker, bigger. And an awesome example of that is Dr. Anthony Huberman had a wonderful podcast not too long ago discussing an area of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And you don't need to remember that term. Dr. Huberman lets us know that that particular area of the brain, which is in a very central location in the brain, is now regarded as where our will to live is housed in the brain. And when you are doing things on a day-to-day basis that challenge you, that maybe you don't want to do, that area over your brain over time actually gets stronger and thicker. And the connections going from that part of your brain develop and strengthen as well. And that's an example of neuroplasticity working for you. So I want you to take a little bit of time today and think about what areas in your life are you feeling absolutely besieged by? What kind of stress levels are you in at the moment? And start asking yourselves, what are the small things I could start doing today? Number one would probably be just observe. No judgment, just observe. What is my life like right now? Is it in alignment with where I want to go? Just start with the small questions. And the other place that you can go is there's a link here in this post. Click on the link, schedule an appointment with me. We will have a 30-minute clarity call. You can share with me what it is that you feel like's tripping you up right now. We can talk about what it would look like to work with me, and we can put together an action plan from there about where to go next. But I'd love to hear from you in the comments about where are some of the areas that you are dealing with some really serious chronic stress in your life, and what kinds of things could you do today to start taking the first steps to maybe you can go get one of these books. Maybe you can watch some more of my videos. There's all kinds of things you can start today when you've got a few minutes of downtime. And I'd love to hear from you where you think you might be able to start. So the last thing I want to leave you with is you have the power to control your brain and the way it develops over time for the good, for the not so good. So go ahead and take control today. Get your brain healthy. Start getting deep in the Word of God. Start understanding who God says you are and who He's created you to be. Lead and take those first steps. The last thing I'll leave you with is I believe in you.